Singapore, a garden city. But a green and clean Singapore didn't come about overnight. In the past, street scenes such as these were commonplace. The environmental condition of our streets were far from clean and hygienic. Being a small island with a high population density, indiscriminate littering and improper disposal of refuse posed a major health hazard to the population. Something had to be done. So 20 years ago, on 1st October 1968, a nationwide Keep Singapore Clean campaign was launched by the Prime Minister.
We have built, we have progressed, but there is no hallmark of success more distinctive and more meaningful than achieving our position as the cleanest and greenest city in South Asia.
The campaign was launched at a crucial period when major problems such as housing and unemployment were largely being solved. It was thus timely to instill in the people the need to upgrade their environment and quality of life. It was also the first time a massive campaign aimed at public education was carried out.
The campaign is unique in that it has been planned and conducted in a scale which has never been done before. It involves every man, woman and child, every employer, workman or housewife. It is the responsibility of everyone in Singapore to refrain from littering, as Singapore is one home and one garden for all of us.
In order to reach out to everyone, full publicity was given to the campaign.
To keep our city clean, our parks and beaches too. Just put your waste into a bin and see that others do. Keep your city like a bin, put your litter in a bin. Stop disease this simple way. Think about it, start today.
One aspect of the campaign included the control of street hawkers, which numbered about 24,000. Food and vegetable waste dumped into the drains or left on the road by them further aggravated the situation. These street hawkers had to be cleared and recited into proper food centers and markets. To clean up the streets of Singapore was a mammoth task. In the past, refuse wasn't collected regularly and was often left on the sidewalks to rot. With the campaign, the cleansing and public service under the Ministry of Health was upgraded. Refuse and litter were collected and cleared every single day of the week without fail. Till today, this practice is still carried out 365 days a year. But the clearing of rubbish wasn't left to the government departments alone. At various constituencies, broomstick brigades such as these also joined in the battle to clear the surroundings of its litter and dirt. It was a mass community effort involving the old as well as the young. But for some, this responsibility seemed to stop only at their doorsteps. Public places were still being littered. People were indifferent. This long ingrained habit of the people had to be changed. For the first time, fines were introduced for littering offences. Those caught littering were summoned to court and could be fined up to $500. But fines acted only as a deterrent. More important was the need to create public awareness that it was everyone's duty to keep Singapore clean, to see beyond their own doorsteps and cultivate the habit of not polluting the environment. Successive campaigns further reinforced this message. In no time, there was a visible difference. Singapore was cleaner, and littering was no longer a major problem. Having tackled the problem of littering, further steps were taken to enhance the environment with greenery. This added another dimension, the transformation of Singapore into a garden city. The greening program was initiated by the Prime Minister as early as 1963, but it only gained momentum much later. Since 1971, Tree Planting Day is an annual affair. This is to encourage mass participation as well as to sustain the interest of the people in contributing towards the greening of a city. In the early 60s, relatively few trees could be found in the city area. The first step was to ensure that as many trees as possible were planted along major roads and streets. Previously, trees were grown from seedlings, which took at least 5 years to mature. But with the introduction of instant trees, the greening program was accelerated. At the same time, land was set aside for the development of parks and tree planting. In the late 70s, the garden city concept was taken a step further. A greater variety of ornamental trees and shrubs were brought in to increase the range of plants available. Exotic flowers imported from other tropical countries were included to add dashes of color to Singapore's green landscape. Today, trees and flowers are found almost everywhere. Plants and flowering shrubs are also used to beautify concrete structures such as these. The greening program has been successful due to widespread efforts to find suitable plant species, but the maintenance and nurturing of the greenery requires just as much effort. Today, 20 years later, Singapore has become a clean and green city. Since 1970, some 4.5 million trees, shrubs and climbers have been planted. And today, there are 38 parks developed for our recreational needs. With greater affluence and a higher standard of living, the environment and the quality of life now assume greater importance. A city that's clean and green not only meets the aesthetic needs of the people, but also reflects the people themselves.